Hello, everyone. It's Monday, September the 19th. Again, over the weekend and everything, from time to time, we may not have all the deaths reported in, but we only have 3 right now. 3 too many, but nevertheless, the 7,365th death in West Virginia is an 83-year-old male from Wood County. The 7,366th death is a 43-year-old male from Mercer County, and the 7,367th death is a 75-year-old female from Monongahela County. Again, if you know these folks and everything, please reach out to all their loved ones or their family and just tell them they're not alone. If not, please send up your prayers, because some way, somehow they know. I'll promise you that Kathy and I will do exactly the same. We've got 1,850 active cases in West Virginia, 1,223 new positive cases in the last 24 hours, 11.79 positivity rate, daily rate. Cumulative rate still at 8.55. Recovered cases are 587,050. We have 298 folks that are hospitalized, 49 in the ICU units and 18 on ventilators. And we only have 1 gold county. That part's a little better. And we've got a few more counties that are in the green. I tell you over and over about getting your Omicron booster shot. Kathy, our First Lady, has not gotten hers yet, but she's getting it right now. And so I just absolutely ask all of you to please step forward and get your booster shots and everything, especially before this weather turns cold and people have to come inside and everything. And from that standpoint, it's going to move even faster. And especially if you're over the age of 50, but over the age of 12, you're eligible. And get that booster shot. You've got to have the series of the prior shots. And so, but I can't tell you enough how important it is to get that booster shot. The numbers continue, like I said, to get slowly but surely better. We get more and more folks that are getting their first shot all the time. That's really good. At the end of the day, if we can save 1 life, I say it over and over, what's a life worth? You can't tell me. I can't tell you either. But it's important that we're here and we're urging people to get these absolute vaccines, because they're safe and they're absolutely good in every way. So try to, we want to be super respectful, as I always say, to everybody's wishes and everybody's thoughts and everything. That's what made this country what it's made this country. But at the same time, I really encourage you to get those shots. The vaccine calculator will tell you, if you go on our website and everything and get registered in or dialed into that vaccine calculator, it'll remind you when your shots are due. All the information on COVID is up on our website. We have 104 outbreaks in long-term care facilities, none in the church community, 59 inmate cases, and 54 staff cases. I remind you about the Homeowners Assistance Program. It's still available to you. If you'll call us, we'll walk you through it and everything and try to get you qualified. We'll abide by all the rules without any question whatsoever. It'll take a few minutes, but it won't take long, and we'll see if we can get you qualified. If you're really hurting and everything, you may very well be able to pick up some additional bucks that'll help you at this time. I remind you over and over about giving blood. It couldn't be more important. Red Cross really needs you. Today there was an announcement, about communities and schools. That it was an event that we just held. The great people at Truett, Patrick O'Malley is their regional president and everything. They were kind enough. They've done this before, but they're real contributors and supporters of the communities and schools. They presented a $15,000 check just a few minutes ago, and that's presented by Truist West Virginia, and basically I think it's called Truist West Virginia Foundation, and like I said, their president Patrick O'Malley played basketball, from what I understand, at Richmond, graduate of George Washington High School, and quite an athlete. But nevertheless, Patrick, we thank you in every way. And this is the third year that Truist and their foundation has made this contribution to communities and schools. And really and true, I say it over and over and over, but and I don't say it because Kathy's our First Lady. I say it because it's just the truth. And you know me, from the standpoint of speaking it, I have never seen a program that works better in the schools than communities and schools. I mean, this has taken kids that are having a hard time for whatever reason it may be, and they need somebody. They need somebody to talk to, and they need somebody that'll come in and mentor and lead them and help them in the shortfalls that they're having. All the communities and schools folks and everything, you know, from Vicki and Sharina and Katie and it goes on and on and on, you know, that helped Kathy and it is a program that really works. I mean, a lot of times a kid that is really having a tough way to go may be a kid that, you know, is going to be lost. And who knows all the bad things that could happen to that child and everything. And maybe it's turning that kid's life around. Maybe that kid's disruptive in the classroom. It's messing up lots of stuff for maybe a lot of kids and everything. Maybe it turns all that around. We can never thank all those that are on the front lines, the communities and schools people that are working at the schools, or the teachers and our service personnel, all the great people in administration that absolutely, this program is a real winner. And I know it because I'm there. For crying out loud, I'm in our schools so much, it's unbelievable. You know, I've coached forever. I absolutely would push elected officials, push all of us to try to spend some time with kids. I know it's tough, and I know really it takes maybe your free time, but absolutely it'll make you feel good. It absolutely will touch your soul. If you can help a kid, you know, it really will rejuvenate you in many ways. So consider. But again, thanks to our First Lady, and thanks to all those folks in communities and schools. Great work. On Friday, I announced more stuff on broadband, you know, but I announced my approval for more than $53.3 million of broadband projects that are going to be taking you know, place in Greenbrier, Monroe, Raleigh, Randolph, Roane, and Summers counties. And these grants were a part of our $1 billion broadband strategy. You know, we just keep rolling it out. It just keeps helping more and more and more. And so with this, you know, that we're rolling out right here with broadband all across this great state, you know, we need, you know, I see from time to time, you know, advertisements that may be on TV or whatever it may be, and we're behind in connectivity. And so we want to continue to try to improve and work it and everything, and we're getting there. And but this is another great big rollout that we've got going on with these grants, and so more and more good stuff will be happening. So nevertheless, that's all I've got for right now.
All right, thank you, Governor. Let's now go to retired Major General Jim Hoyer, Director of our Joint Interagency Task Force.
Good morning. I would like to reinforce and highlight a couple of the points that the governor brought up. First, 298 in the hospitals. While that is a manageable number, we need to understand that we need to continue to draw down the pressure, particularly going into flu season, the fall and winter, and other challenges, to reduce that stress on our system as well as our healthcare providers, which leads to the most important point to reinforce that the governor made, and that is anyone 12 years of age or older is eligible for the COVID-19 Omicron booster. So please get out and get that booster. If you have questions or concerns about where to go or your eligibility, again, use the vaccinate.wv.gov site and go to the vaccine due date calculator. It will help you with everything from your eligibility and timelines to potential access to vaccines. If you want to talk to someone in person, we have a great team at the hotline that continues to work at 1-833-734-0965. The wait time at our hotline is only about 20 seconds. So you're not going to spend a lot of time waiting to get someone to help you. We continue to do a lot of work with providers and outreach to providers, as well as the various partners across the sectors in the state. We still have not received any federal pharmacy data as to the number of boosters that they track in their portion of the system from the CDC. So we'll continue to work that with our data analytics team. And when that's available, we'll make some of those updates available to you. But again, 12 years of age and older, as the governor pointed out also, we still have people going to get their first vaccine. And that's a great news story and something we'll continue to press forward with. The last thing I would leave you with, I had the opportunity and the privilege to work when I served as the Adjutant General with the First Lady and the communities, excuse me, and schools team, and partnered with the Guard Future Leaders program. And just want to congratulate the communities in school on more expansion and great work. I've seen firsthand the work that they do for kids. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Next to Dr. Ayn Amjad, our State Health Officer.
Good morning. I just wanted to discuss a little bit more. The governor and General Hoyer did mention about the updated Omicron booster vaccines. We do get some questions on whether or not you should take your flu vaccine or any other up-to-date vaccine, such as the pneumonia vaccine, at the same time. You can take the flu vaccine with the Omicron booster. Normal flu season is around November to March. So if you're going for your Omicron booster now and cannot return back to the provider late October, early November, you can get them both at the same time. Usually they'll put them in different arms. But just want to reiterate that it is going to be likely a bad flu season based on other trends we are seeing across the world. So recommend you get your flu vaccine along with your Omicron booster. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Doctor. We'll now go to questions from members of the media. The first today from Steve Adams with Ogden Newspapers.
Yeah, Steve Adams for Ogden Newspapers. I kind of wish for once that Dr. Marsh was on the call, because over the weekend, Sunday, I believe President Biden had said something to the effect that the pandemic is over. And of course, we know it's not over in the sense of finality. Obviously, people are still dying from COVID. People aren't getting their shots and their boosters quite as much as we should. But I did want to get some reaction to the president saying that on national TV yesterday, considering that is the president and that how he feels about the pandemic is honestly going to kind of affect how policy regarding the pandemic goes forward, and that comes down and trickles down to the states as well. So I'd kind of like to get your all's thoughts on that. Thank you.
Well, Stephen, I'm giggling because you said this, one day that I wish, that Dr. Marsh would be on with us, and I know you didn't really mean it that way, but I thought, boy, Dr. Marsh, he's been such a superstar and everything, but I'm gonna give him a hard time about you saying that and everything. But anyway, nevertheless, I know you love Dr. Marsh and as just as much as I do. But with all that being said, Stephen, I'm the wrong guy. I'm gonna let Dr. Amjad to speak in just 1 second about this, but I'm the wrong guy to comment on what President Biden is saying. Because, and I know too, that oftentimes I don't think President Biden has any idea what he's saying. And so to comment on this thing is over because President Biden maybe said that and everything, I want to be super respectful to the presidency of the United States, but it's just crazy land in my book. But Dr. Amjad, please go.
Yes, Governor. Steve, I read that too over the weekend, and I guess the way I see things too, I wouldn't say that the pandemic is over. I would say that it's maybe trending downward or hit a plateau. But as we discussed many times, we're still seeing cases. They're not as severe. We're not seeing as many hospitalizations or deaths, but we're also not at the level where I would say it's completely over. So I would say it's at its baseline or trending down, rather than just saying it's completely over.
Yeah, Governor, if I could, I'd like to jump in. I'll cover for my friend Dr. Marsh, along with Dr. Amjad, and I will team up on this. We may be out of pandemic phase and into endemic state, but a couple of things I think are important for us from the state of West Virginia, and why the governor continues to manage this through the task force and his leadership team, is even in an endemic phase of an event like this, there are people that are going to die. There are things that have to be done. There is public health work that has to be done every day, and it has to be coordinated with other things that Dr. Amjad and the team have to deal with, from monkeypox to flu to a whole series of other things. So while we are moving out of pandemic phase and into endemic state, there is still a lot of work to be done, and a lot of work that goes on day to day behind the scenes at the governor's direction to help protect the people of the state of West Virginia.
And come back to me, please. Let me just say this too. I believe, and in fact, I know beyond a doubt, in my mind at least, that if we absolutely just bundle everything up and say pandemic's over, will more people die if we were to stay here and continue to do what we do? Will we absolutely have less people rather die than just bundling everything up and saying pandemic's over, see y'all later? Maybe easier on us, but it's surely, absolutely, in my opinion, without any question, if we just bundle it up and say pandemic's over, more people will die. More people will die. That's all there is to it. Now, and the other thing is, that I'm a real believer that if I come in here and sit down with you and let you ask anything you want to ask and everything, it keeps us all more informed. And I think governors should absolutely be doing this all the time. You don't really have anything to hide. From time to time, there's things that are difficult to answer and whatever. But if they're difficult to answer, they're just difficult to answer. It's part of the job. At the end of the day, I'm here for you to ask anything you want to ask, but I am here primarily from the standpoint of just one thing alone, and that is I know we're saving lives being here. And absolutely, if we save one, that's enough. But I know we're saving lots more than just a one. So with that being said, I don't think the pandemic's over. I think we can live with this pandemic. But the more people we can get across the finish line and get vaccinated, the better we'll be able to live with this pandemic. But it's not over. It's absolutely not over.
All right, thank you, Stephen. Next to Charles Young with WV News.
Hi, this is Charles Young with WV News. Governor, could you give us an update on the statewide school safety initiative that Rob Cunningham is working on? I know he updated the legislature on this at the beginning of the summer. Do we know when that's actually going to be released? Thank you.
Charles, I can't give you a whole lot more detail than what you've already got, but there's going to be a formal announcement that's coming out really, really soon, and my office is reviewing all that information, and we'll be coming out with it, and give you more detail later on. But right now, it's just premature for me to give you any details more than just that.
All right, thanks, Charles. Next to Mark Curtis with Nexstar Media.
Good morning, Governor and cabinet members and fellow reporters. Governor, I got a question about all the recent economic development news in the state. As I go down the list here, Nucor, Green Power, Sparks Battery, Berkshire Hathaway, Pure Watercraft, Competitive Power Ventures, Act Now Coalition, and I know there's more. It seems every one of these projects has a significant green energy component to it. Is the state requiring that, or are these companies saying we're not going to come to your state unless you have these, allow these things? I guess what I'm getting at here is all of a sudden West Virginia seems to be embracing clean energy, and it's not just the wind and solar. This Competitive Power Ventures Friday announced the big natural gas plant, but it's going to have carbon capture and sequestration. I'm just wondering if we're entering a new era here of West Virginia now embracing a lot of the clean and green and reliable energy components, along with keeping its fingers on natural gas and coal. What's the mix here, and what's the future? And are we going to see more announcements like these?
Well, Mark, we want to be smart, don't we? And absolutely, we want to never ever forget our coal miners. They're doing quite well right now. There's a demand for coal across the globe that is off the chart. And to be perfectly honest, the folks in Europe are panicked beyond belief, but there's real live demand for coal, domestically as well. From the standpoint of the world economies, if the world economies continue to grow and everything, from the standpoint of demand for metallurgical coal, I spoke earlier there about thermal, but for the demand for metallurgical coal will even be greater than it is today. So with all that being said, we sit on a natural gas reserve that is off the chart. And with all that, we want to promote and absolutely never forget our fossil fuel workers, because I truly believe with all my soul that anybody this day and time that believes that we can do without fossil fuels on this globe, in this country, are absolutely believing frivolous thoughts. Frivolous thoughts. That's all there is to it. There's no way we can do without fossil fuels. Now, with all that being said, do we hang a sign up outside that says, we're not going to welcome anybody unless they're just going to do what we do here? That's not smart. That's not smart at all. You got a business guy that's your governor. And absolutely, with all in me, we want to embrace all the alternative energies. For crying out loud, today it's a drop in the bucket. But with all that being said, we want to continue to embrace. Is West Virginia moving in a direction of more diversification? We better, because the more we diversify, the more goodness it's going to bring to all of us and everything. And so with all that being said, I believe, and I'd go to my grave with this one, I believe that our fossil fuels have saved this country over and over and over, and they're going to continue to do just that for a long, long, long time. But we need to absolutely embrace others, and know that and let them know that they're very welcome in this great state that has those 4 beautiful seasons beyond belief, the greatest people under the sun, within a rock's throw of 2/3 of the population of the whole country, and has incredible natural resources. Go outside. We all know it here. I tell the people, that are thinking about coming to West Virginia just to absolutely listen to this story and go outside. Go outside and look how pristine our waters are, how absolutely the air is just unbelievably beautiful and everything, and all around them is beauty that'll just knock our socks off. So with all that being said, we absolutely want to continue to welcome everybody to this great state and not hang a shingle out that says, we don't like what you're doing, so we're not going to have you here.
All right, thank you, Mark. Next to Brad McElhenney with West Virginia Metro News.
Hi, Governor. Hi, everyone. I too wish Dr. Marsh was here today. Speaking of doctors, Governor and Dr. Amjad, if you want to chime in here, the abortion bill that was signed last week that you talked about on Friday, this version of it would not send doctors to jail, but could send them before a medical licensing board. Is there any concern about how OBGYNs in West Virginia might perceive this bill? Thank you.
Hey, Brad, listen, everybody's kind of piling on Dr. Marsh here today, and I love it, to tell you the truth, because I'm going to get after him, not in a bad way, just in a good way, in a teasing way. But he's an incredible resource and a super intelligent, wonderful man. But nevertheless, Brad, I would just say this about, and then I'm going to defer to Dr. Amjad, but this is my take on the whole thing. You've got a doctor in the Senate and a doctor in the House. Both of them really supported this bill. The way the bill is written, it's very clear to me. It's almost, if you're a doctor and you're doing something that has an intent to do something wrong, there's sure penalties. But this is all left to the decision and great wisdom of doctors and everything all across our state, with reasonable exceptions, and I think it's done in a way that surely, first and foremost, in many ways protects the unborn. I stand rock solid there and everything, but I think the bill is very clear. Surely there's going to be some out there where there's some level of debate and whatever, but like I said, passed overwhelmingly. Doctors in the Senate, doctor in the House, passed overwhelmingly, and I think the bill is really clear. I really salute the legislature, because I pushed them to not just sweep this thing under the rug, election coming and everything, stand up and vote, and let's get something out. And I told them that I would sign it if it came to me with reasonable exceptions and reasonable logic and everything behind it, and I think they did a good job, and I'm proud to sign it. But Dr. Amjad, maybe you could go from there.
Yes, Governor. Brad, I think your question was, since the new bill is not mentioning any penalties against physicians, how OB-GYNs might interpret going before the Board of Medicine or so on. I had not had a chance to talk to any OB-GYNs after last week, but to me, as a physician, I'm an internal medicine physician. I don't see pregnant women, but kind of what to the governor stated, that if a physician and a patient are doing something by the law, then there shouldn't be anything to worry about. I mean, if you think about everyday medical practice, if you're doing the standards of care, the best of care that you're allowed to do under the current law, there should be no concern if you have to go before a Board of Medicine. But that's all I can answer to that, if that was your only question.
All right, thank you, Brad. Governor, I'll turn it back to you.
Well, again, I thank all the media that's on and everything. I love their questions and everything. I really do appreciate them being on with us. Like I do, I just try to make notes and everything, but as I hear our experts, but I just would like to run this by you. It's September the 19th. The sun's shining. It's a beautiful day in West Virginia. It's going to get colder, and things are going to get probably a little tougher. Dr. Amjad told us that it could very well be a bad flu season. Probably will. To be perfectly honest, the last flu season was very mild, but everybody around had a mask on and everything else, and today that's really changed. From the standpoint of it being, thank goodness, it's changed. But from the standpoint of, flu, it could very well be that we have a tough flu season. She reminded people to take their flu shots. You can take them both at the same time with your booster, your Omicron booster, but, it probably, if you're going to get that right now, it probably would be better to go get your flu shot towards the end of October and everything. But, and I'm only taking her words. I'm not trying to play doctor. I'm only taking her words. General Hoyer said, today we have 298 folks that are hospitalized in West Virginia. And really and truly, we know this is going to happen. We know it's going to get colder and more people are going to get sick during the winter and all that kind of stuff. And we need to, what we really need to be doing right now is drawing that number down. that number needs to be declining. You know, the 298 needs to substantially decline because things are going to get tougher in the winter and everything. And so with all that being said, we don't want to stress our hospitals and push them to the limit and everything. And we know what that's been like. And we saw that all across our great country, if not the globe, you know, but how tough that can get. So we really don't know how this thing's going to turn. We hope and pray that this thing is plateauing and things are going to be better and everything, but stay on guard, West Virginia, please do. And we're going to keep you abreast of what all's going on, and we're going to get through this. We can live with it. We can live with this. This is not something that we can't live with. We can live with it, but the more we've got vaccinated, the better off we'll be. Thank you all.